On episode 17 of the PCT podcast, we catch up with Cristian Montano, Port Vale first team player. He speaks to us about his career to date, his struggles with mental health, and the work he's doing in the community as an ambassador for Men Unite. Hello and welcome to the PCT podcast. On today's episode, we are joined by Cristian Montano, current first team football player for Port Vale Football Club, and also a big advocate for mental health in the community in and around Stoke-on-Trent. So welcome, Monty. Thank you for joining us today. How are you and the family during lockdown?
Oh, thank you for having me. During lockdown, to be fair, we have found it very helpful for us. Obviously, each individual might have their own opinions, but for us, it has been actually good where we have been able to do things that we weren't able to do before, such as potty training a little boy, spending time as a family together, because obviously during a routine and the normal day-to-day life that we call it, obviously with me training my little boy and going nursery and my missus working, we weren't able to do things that we wanted to do for our little boy and preparing him for when he goes into the later stages in his education. Yeah. And it's been amazing also for having my two boys together. That something I've not been able to experience in a long time, or probably never. Okay. And understanding little things such as what my kids actually enjoy doing and what they actually dislike doing. Yeah. It's been amazing.
Great stuff. I mean, it was a strange time for everyone, and we speak as if we're just awaiting a decision from obviously the EFL. How have you enjoyed the season so far? And you know, it's been quite a positive one on the pitch for Port Vale.
I think this season, I've been at Vale now 3 years. And I will look back at my time at Vale, obviously the first 2 years when it was 2 years where things were, we had more lows than highs. Yeah. And I remember saying and speaking to my teammates, a couple of them where we said, if we've actually survived relegation the way we have under the circumstances we are in, we could survive anything as a team. And it went to show where new takeover, new owners, with a new mindset, a new philosophy around the club, bringing a family feel around the place. Yeah. And as players, because what we experienced and we were able to do what we did, which was obviously, I wouldn't say it's a success surviving relegation. No one wants to be fighting relegation in football, but to survive the way we did and to now have the owners that we've got and the management that we've got, it goes to show that we can actually achieve what we want because we survived something under, I would say, bad circumstances that we were in as a club. And to have good owners, it showed on the pitch as well. Everyone was happy. I enjoyed it so much. And I'm sure all the other lads have done the same thing. Yeah. We just went out there and enjoyed our football.
Yeah, we caught up with David Worrell and Danny Pugh, and they mentioned as well the impact the owners have had, and obviously in the current climate, the fantastic work they're doing off the pitch, which sort of leads me on to some of the stuff that you're doing. Recently, you've just been announced as an ambassador for Men Unite. What an honour that is to help inspire others.
Yeah, I think for myself, it's always, since I decided to speak about my own emotional health issues that I experienced, I wanted to impact lives. I wanted to help individuals. And at first, obviously, I was worried because I've spoken about my own issues to my family and I felt comfortable doing so because I overcame them. And this was obviously after I went through what I went through, where I would sit down with my mum and my missus and we actually discussed what I went through. And it wasn't funny, but we would laugh to think that most of the times and at the time, I was just being consumed by what people thought about me. Okay. And it was draining me and it took me to a dark hole where I thought there was no way out. So where we'll sit down and discuss all those things. And then when I spoke to Max, he was the old head of media at Port Vale, and then he said, "Oh, you've got your story. Would you want to share in camera?" And I was like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa."
Yeah.
That's something I've never done before. I've not spoken on camera to the world about how I felt. I know how I feel about that. And then in the end, I came around and I thought, you know what, I overcame so many things. So it would be good to encourage people out there to speak.
Yeah.
A lot of the times, individuals, whether you're a man or a female, everyone goes through some form of emotional health or mental health, like we call it nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
And they feel like they can't speak because people are going to judge them.
Yeah.
They can't speak because maybe their friends are so-called hard people that, oh, he's soft, or you need to get over it. And the so big word that everyone uses when you go and tell someone your own issue, which is man up. That's something that I don't really understand. Like, when I hear that word, I ask myself, what do you mean by man up? That's something that I don't know if anyone would actually have an actual proper explanation of that word, what it actually means.
Yeah.
So I just thought, you know what, I'm going to get out there and speak what's in my mind, and hopefully we'll encourage others to do so the same. And when I spoke to Man United about it, I just loved the work they were doing, because the person who found it and decided to start it, he suffered with mental health as well.
Right. Okay.
And then when I got deeper into who Men United are who they really are, nearly most of the people that are actually involved with them have suffered with some form of emotional health. And to see what they're doing for the community was amazing. So I thought, I need to carry on speaking to them. And then we did something for Sky News about how finances can affect your mental health. And then we stayed in touch. And then I just wanted to ask them a bit more about them, where I thought, you know what, this is something that is amazing what they're doing. And I thought, and then they asked me about if I wanted to become an ambassador. And I said, obviously, I would love to, because they work with what I do. I work with what they do. And the fact is, they have a football team as well that allows men to go and enjoy themselves and take all their thoughts away for however long it may be and enjoy football. They're also this season are going to be self-funded, where they're going to pay for the pitches or sub fees, and that's going to help a lot of men out there that they might be struggling financially. And also they're providing, when everything goes back to normal, where they're going to provide counselors as well, which is going to be amazing what I do, because I can help people and speak to people. Like, I've impacted so many people's lives already. And I've always got time for individuals on my Instagram. And even when I go out and people stop me for a chat, those people then go out and then find a counselor or a psychologist. Well, now, because I can actually guide them and lead them into a counselor.
Yeah.
And then I'll be able to stay in touch with them and see their progress, rather than them going to someone where I don't know. And then when I ask them, they might tell me something, but I don't really know what's going on. So I would want to stay in touch and actually see how people progress and help them and guide them as well a bit better. So when Men United, I'll be able to do that on a bigger scale. And it was just a no-brainer for me, because they're an amazing group, and I can't speak highly of that. They're amazing. I don't have any words to describe how big they are in the community.
Yeah, no, and we will touch on it again later on in the conversation. What I wanted to speak about is like your journey to date, obviously in football, and maybe some advice for young aspiring footballers. So just going back then to really the start of your footballing career, growing up in Colombia, how was that, and at what age did you really start playing football?
Growing up in Colombia, I've always played football. I played football from when I kicked a ball from when I first started walking.
Okay.
And my first Christmas present was a football kit. And I love football. Everything I wanted to do was playing football, because of my culture and where I was where I was raised. Obviously, I was a kid that was blessed with a lot of things from my mom, especially. Loved everything I wanted, I had. But I didn't know you could actually, I might sound ignorant or people might think, oh, that's a lie or whatever. But for me, I didn't even know you could have a career playing football. My mom never said to me, you could actually earn a living from playing football. You could actually achieve what you want from playing football. I just saw it as a hobby, what I love doing. I still see it as that. And it got to a point where she basically asked me what I wanted to do.
Okay.
As an adult, what was my dream? And I said basically, it was something basically bad, nothing to do with football. And she said, no chance. Yeah, that's not right. I said, Mom, but a lot of my friends that I see, this is bearing in mind, I'm only 7 years old.
Oh.
Because Colombia is an open country, like from the age of 3. I mean, 3, yeah, you can crawl or walk out your house basically, and everyone knows everyone.
Yeah.
So you grow up quite fast. You get to see everything. You're not blindfolded to the real world.
Yeah.
You can see everything. You hear gunshots here, or whatever, anything. And my cousin obviously was into a lot of bad things who I grew up with. And I see what he was doing. So my aspiration was to be like him, basically.
Okay.
And because he had a lot of respect and whatnot. But from what I told my mum what I wanted to do, she basically said, no, I need to get out of the country. And my mum left Colombia when I was, I think, 8 years old. No, I was about 8 years old or a bit younger. She came to the UK, obviously looking for a better life for her and for a better life for me. And then I came over to the UK when I was 10 years old. I didn't like it at first.
Okay.
I've come from a warm country.
Yeah.
I come from a place where I'm free to walk out my house and I know everyone, to a place where I don't know anyone. It's cold. I came in December as well, so it was snowing that time. I can't speak a word of English. What am I doing here?
Yeah.
I used to cry every night. I said, Mom, take me back home. I don't want to be here. And then one night I saw my mom crying, and she basically said, like, how hard she's fought and how hard she's worked to obviously try and give me a better life. And then she asked me what I want to do. And I said, well, okay, I will stay if you find me a football club. And yes, I'm 10 years old. I already knew basically, I had my own mind at that age from experience of what I experienced in Colombia and what I've seen. And she asked a few friends that she had, like the Colombian community in London is quite big, like Latin American community is quite big. So she asked a few friends that had kids similar age as me. Oh, what's your son doing? Has he got a football club? All of that. They led us to a man called Isai Sanchez, who owned a club called Universal FC. I remember my mom taking me there on a Sunday morning, a rainy, cold, windy Sunday morning, to watch them play. And they didn't have age groups for me. I was too young to play with them. Oh. And I started crying again. I said, oh, this is not for me. I want to leave. And then she then turned around and told a guy, look, give my son a chance. Then they told her, oh, come back next Sunday and we'll have a look at him maybe. Yeah. But we can't guarantee anything. So next Sunday came round and we went again. And one of the players didn't turn up. Okay. So I see them, they were getting beat. And I said, look, I know they're older than me, but please give me a chance. Give me a chance, I'll play. And it was easy for me because they were Latin American as well. So the whole team was full of like Latin American kids so that everyone could speak Spanish. So it was so easy for me to communicate with them. So I said, I'll play. I'll guarantee I'll score. Please give me a chance. And then they said, okay, come on. They put me on the second half, and I went and scored about 2 or 3 goals. Because I used to play up front as a kid, and then they said, no, we need to. So what they done, they basically forgot about the other kid, and I started playing under his name.
Wow, a bit of a different way into football, I suppose. And you were signed then to West Ham. Did you know of any interest that came about? And when you did join the academy, was there any sort of cultural differences or difficulties just adjusting to academy?
Yeah, I will go back to, obviously, the way I got scouted at for West Ham was at Watford tournament.
Okay.
Where obviously you've got a lot of academies, and then you have obviously all your little semi-pro teams, and then you have your little Sunday league teams as well, having their own little tournament. So, and then you've got scouts going around every pitch just looking at players. And I was playing really well for Universal FC. And then after one game, I had the manager, Isai Sanchez, came over and said, oh, by the way, there was, I think, 4 Premier League clubs.
Wow.
He mentioned all the names, but obviously there's no point on me talking about them because I didn't end up going there. And he said, obviously, West Ham are one of them. But then he turned and said, but I don't think you're ready yet, Chris. I think you need more time with us. And obviously he didn't want to lose one of his best players. So he was trying to talk me out of like thinking, yeah, professional team.
Yeah.
And then my mum then said, no, look, I think my son's ready. Just give him a chance. And he was under 12s where I lasted with the team for 1 year from 10 to 11. Mm. And just before I turned 12, I ended up actually going there on trial.
Okay.
In the end, because it was a long forwards and forwards conversation between the club and West Ham saying, look, we'll give him a trial, let him come train. And I ended up going to train with the age group above me because the age group below me went training that day. So it was at a little park where they had a few players just training with one of the coaches just to have a look at me. They put a session on, trained on really well, and they said, oh, you look good. There's a game on Sunday with your age group. Do you want to go there? And I said, obviously I want to play, but I still couldn't speak a word of English. I was just saying like the little words here and then. Yeah, I'll play, please, thank you, things like that. So I couldn't really understand anything. And luckily they had a translator a guy who could speak, he was Italian, but he could speak Spanish and English. And he told me everything. I said, yeah, I want to come. And I remember, obviously, I went too well with like underground trains. I went too well with all of that. And neither was my mom, even though she's been in the country for longer than I have. We had to go to Newbury Park train station, Central Line, and we ended up getting lost. Because my mom didn't drive. And by the time I got to the pitch, the game had already started. So I was late for my first game on trial. So I started panicking. And then what gave, it's as weird as it sounds, or as small as it sounds, it was, as a kid, you always want to play with, I want to be number 7, number 9, number 10. I got to the change room and number 10 was laid out there for me. Wow. And I was thinking, wow, number 10, they must rate me then. Mm. So I got changed, walked over to the pitch. We were playing against Coventry at Chadwell Heath. I think it was, Chadwell Heath or Little Heath. I think it was Little Heath. Mm. And got to the pitch, done my warm up, and they said to me, to be fair, I didn't even understand what they said to me. They said, from what I understood was, do you want to play up front? And I said, yeah. But I didn't know what they were saying to me. I said, yeah. And the manager got his little clipboard and was showing me where to be, like trying to explain properly. And then I came on in it, because back then you used to play, I think it was 3 quarters, 4 quarters, I don't know.
4 quarters, that's what
4 quarters. Yeah, 4 quarters, yeah. So I came on for like the last 15 minutes, 20 minutes of the last like half of the game. And then I came on So I came on, won a penalty, we scored from it, and then I scored 2 goals.
Nice.
Straight after that first trial game, they said to me, we want to give you a contract. Well, they spoke to the translator who told my mum, and my mum told me I was excited. I signed, but then it was hard. It wasn't easy because we lived in North London. My mum had about 3 or 4 jobs.
Wow.
I had to go to school, and the journeys that we had to take, sometimes I had to get a bus from school to Liverpool Street. My mum would meet me there with my lunch. Like, she would obviously cook at home, take it to her work, and then when I had about 4:30, she would meet me in Liverpool Street with my training kit. I had to obviously eat on the train and get changed on the train in front of all the commuters and people looking at you obviously weirdly. Oh, this food's obviously smell of food and the train's packed. But obviously I didn't care. I come straight from Colombia where no one cares about anything. Yeah. You just eat your food and get changed wherever you can. Yeah. And the journeys were long days for me, for my mom, where we'll be at the house she'll be at the house from 6 a.m, where I would wake up and I'd have to obviously feed myself. And we lived in a shared house together. This is something I never really spoke to anyone about, and I shared a room with my mum, and I wouldn't see her from when I woke up, because I wake up on my own in a house full of people that I didn't even know. I'm just a kid, basically, you get me? At this time I was 14, 13. But it's obviously now I understand it, because obviously she's trying to give me the best life for me, you get me?
Yeah.
So I'll go to school, then I'll meet my mom about 4:45, Liverpool Street. We'll get the train together, we'll get changed. Then we'll have to sometimes walk from the train station to the training ground, which was about half an hour, 40-minute walk to get to train for about 7:30 and 6:30. Training started, then obviously finish training quite late, get on a train back home and do my homework about 12 at night, wake up again at 6. And that was my routine from under 13s till before I turned scholar, basically. Oh. And what he taught me was the culture, was how disciplined, how respectful everyone was, and that changed my mentality. Being there helped me a lot, because I used to just be that kid that did what I wanted. I'm Colombian, I do what I want. I grew up in this culture, so I'm gonna do what I want. I needed anger management lessons, because I always came from Colombia. I was just an angry kid. My mentality was different. Yeah. And then it just taught me how to be respectful, being on time, discipline. And obviously I bought into all of that. I could have just sat it all off, and I bought into it because I was seeing how hard my mom was working. And I went from wanting to leave this country to actually wanting to make a life in this country just so I could help my mom.
Yeah. It sounds like mom was such an inspirational figure in that journey, and it must have been a real proud moment for you and your mum when you signed professional terms in 2010.
Oh, yeah. I remember going, obviously, prior to that, I played in a testimonial game for Tony Carr. He was my youth team manager back then, and stepping up on a pitch at Upton Park in a testimonial game in front of so many fans, and play with legends like Zola, Di Canio, and all them people was amazing. Signing the pro contract was just, I feel like I've achieved something, but I still said to my mum, it's not done yet. Yeah. It's just a little stepping stone now, where I've now decided to make this my life. Mm-hmm. So I could end up being out of contract and start all over again. But that wasn't my mindset. My mindset was thinking how hard my mum has worked to get me to that point, and what I actually wanted to do for my mum. That changed my whole mindset, and she was delighted. Obviously, our first pro contract, I didn't even know you could get paid playing football. Like, obviously, going back to when we first started the conversation, where I didn't know you could earn a career out of football. And I'll go back to my scholarship when they told me, oh, you're going to earn X amount of money. I was like, what? Seriously? To play football every day? I said to my mum, I can't believe you get paid like just over 100 quid a week for like this. And then she was like, your mum didn't even know either.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, yeah, like, I'm going to get paid, mum. And then, so I wonder what the pro contract's going to be like. Like, what is that? I didn't know you could go from scholarship to a professional contract. Obviously, I was a complete kid who was blind to all this lifestyle and what footballers live like. And when I got told what I was going to earn in my pro contract, I was like, no way. And then I thought, you know what? I've got to nail it down, because my mum works even harder than I do, basically, in terms of hours.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get paid more than my mum doing what I love doing. Mm-hmm. And then when I started getting a bit, obviously when I got enough money, I told my mum to stop working.
Right. Wow.
And then we moved into an apartment in Essex. And that's where it all started, really.
Yeah.
And then my first pro contract, I ended up going on loan to Notts County in League One. I made my debut against Nottingham Forest in the Carling Cup at the time at Forest.
Some debut to go into that, isn't it?
Yeah, and it was just amazing. And having my mum there watching that game was an amazing experience. And then I remember obviously after the game, speaking to her, how proud she was. And it was just a thing that I've always wanted to experience, and see my mum smile, that I did it, but I wouldn't have done it if it wasn't for her.
Yeah, without her sacrifices.
Yeah, and obviously she stopped working. I started, obviously, she then became, I know she would be my mum, but then she became the person she would want to be, which was be there for me and cook for me and have actually conversations after I get back from football, so like to then build a relationship between us. So I thank God, I thank my mum for sticking by me, because obviously a lot of people in my family didn't believe that I could actually make it. A lot of people told my mum, look, you're wasting your time taking him to Sunday League football. You're wasting your time going there, standing in the rain, Sunday mornings, cold, windy. And she said, well, he enjoys doing it, so I'm going to carry on supporting him. And yeah, I played when I turned pro, I played my whole season on loan. I went from club to club getting experiences, because back then you could go on loan to as many clubs as you wanted.
Yeah.
So I went to Notts County for 2 months. Then, because I wasn't starting as many games, but I was doing well. Then West Ham recalled me back, and they said they wanted me to play more football. I ended up going on loan to Dagenham and Redbridge, which was around the corner from West Ham. Yeah. So I was training for West Ham, and then going and training with them on a Friday, working on team shape, and then playing Saturdays, which was ideal for me because I was still at West Ham, but just going to a different club on a Friday and decided to train, to do a little bit of prep and then play games. And that was in League Two, and I'd done really well for them. And then I ended up going to, after 2 months, I got recalled back and I got sent on loan to Swindon, where with Di Canio. And it was a good experience because to that point I was having everything nice for me. And then when I had a manager that basically we didn't get on, it was how I dealt with it. And it opened my eyes out to actually the real world of football, how opinionated it could be, and how people could be so judgmental. Where obviously me and Di Canio didn't really have. We had a great relationship before I signed for them, and while I signed for them, and while I was there, we just clashed, and it was for like weird small things where he's someone that, from what I experienced, someone that he wanted me to go to him and beg him that I wanted to stay there an extra month. And I said to him, look, I've been here, I've played, and I've done really well. And my job is to just perform on a pitch, and hopefully you would want to keep me here an extra month. And he's like, no, I hear you tell me you want to play for me. I said, yeah, obviously, if I didn't want to play for you, I wouldn't be here. And I think I'm doing well for the team. And he basically turned around, and one day I woke up and then he basically slated me on the press, said that was big time and I didn't want to be there. And that was all lies, basically. And I didn't like it. So what I'd done, I packed my bag and I went back to West Ham. Mm-hmm. And then they said to me, what are you doing here? You're meant to be on loan. I said, well, if you look at the press. And then they did, and then they read what he had said, and he said, and obviously, because they've known me for a long time, so I said, this is not you. Mm-hmm. So don't worry, stay here, train with them. And then I ended up going on loan back to Notts County. Yeah. And Martin Allen, which is someone who I'm so grateful for too. He gave me my debut and I enjoyed playing under him. And then obviously, for some reason, he ended up leaving or getting sacked. Now manager come in, he wanted to bring his own players, so I ended up going back to West Ham and then went back on loan to Oxford for the remainder of the season. Yeah. And after experiencing obviously all of that season where I enjoyed playing first in football, I went back to West Ham, I got offered a new deal. But I didn't want to be that player who just sat and played reserve team football and then be with the first team every now and then. Because I was always with the first team, training with the first team at West Ham, and I would travel with them, but I was always like 19th man, which was a great experience. But I didn't want to just be that player who could have played first in football and professional, actually enjoyed doing what he loved doing, because he decided to sit at West Ham at a big club on decent money. I just wanted to play football. So I said, no, I want to go and play football. If you don't guarantee me that I'm going to get my chance, I want to go play football. And then I decided to basically not sign the contract. Didn't have a club for the whole of pre-season. So then I started panicking a bit. Yeah. And in the end, I ended up going to Italy to speak to a club in Serie B. And things were going well, but at the time, obviously, I've had my eldest kid was born, and his mum at the time didn't want to move out of the country, so I had to change my plans and come back to England. And then I had Lens in France wanted to speak to me, so I went over there as well. By the time I got to France, I spoke to the assistant manager. I said they really liked me, started talking contracts, and then went to bed, and I saw I was literally getting to sleep. The door at the place where I was staying went off, open, and it was the guy who basically picked me up from the airport and said, I'm gonna have to take you back to the train station to get a Eurostar back to England. I said, why? He said, well, Oldham have agreed compensation with West Ham to sign you. So I ended up coming back. I went to Oldham, and that's when my first in professional football started. Went to Oldham and loved it there. The fans were amazing. And then I got caught up in a little scandal. And then obviously ended up getting sacked. And they have no chance to explain myself and to give the reasons of what went on. I just got arrested. By the time I got arrested, from when I got arrested in my uncle's house at the time I was in. And from then to me going to the police station, they've sacked me without having a word with me.
Wow.
And yeah.
Just before we sort of go into that, I wanted to add a little bit of, positivity in terms of your loan spells. There was 10 goals and 39 appearances across those loan spells. not a bad return really for a young overseas player coming in and settling into the game. And there was a quote I've come across from Martin Allen upon your return to West Ham, saying that you're a fantastic player and a lovely lad, humble, hardworking, and dedicated. How much of a confidence boost was that at that young age?
Oh, it was amazing because, like I said, he was someone who always backed me, always respected me, and gave me the belief that I could actually play at such a level. Mm-hmm. And obviously, a manager can back anyone, but if you don't back yourself, you're not going to actually be able to show people what you're about. And just for him, an experienced manager, to show that belief in me, made me believe that I could actually achieve anything. I can achieve anything I put my mind on. And I remember one day, the last game before I went back to West Ham, he said in the press before the game, he's going back to West Ham tomorrow. It was against Hartlepool on Sky Sports News. I'm going to bring him on with 5 minutes to go, and he's going to score. Yeah. And I came on, had my first shot, saved. And then I got the second ball just outside the edge of the box, run past one player and a shot from the edge of the box and in the bottom corner. Yeah. And obviously I went wild, everyone did. And then it's just crazy from that's how much belief he had in me. Wow. That everything literally that he said, I did. Yeah. And it's someone I respect so much. Every time when I've played against his teams, I would always remember for the rest of my life. Because thanks to him, I'll say obviously thanks to my mum to start with, thanks to God, but thanks to him in the football industry, I've managed to believe in myself that I could play professional football.
Yeah. No, it must have been so inspiring at that age to hear that level of support. And as you mentioned there was, these allegations which were later dropped, and rightly so. Disappointed at the lack of support from the club, and obviously then a move back to Colombia then followed. Was it good just to be playing back home, or did you miss England in the football over here?
I think at the start, being dismissed without any support was obviously hard to take, because Oldham, a club that to this day I still respect and love, because I would say they are my first proper club in terms of I've signed pro deal there, and I played first in football for a club that I was contracted to. But then obviously I don't blame the fans for saying or giving me all the abuse they gave me, because press is press and bad press is what always sells. Whether they know the truth or not is what they did, and they made everyone believe that I was guilty of something I didn't do. And maybe what I said or how I came across in the video that I got recorded in made them believe that I was guilty, but they didn't know why I was saying what I was saying. They didn't know the pressure that I was under. Yeah, people can say, and I could say, and I've learned from that now, where I could have spoken out and sought help. But at the time I was young, I was naive, I was scared, I didn't know who to turn to, even though I had the backing of the manager, Lee Johnson. He knew me really well, but I just didn't feel comfortable speaking about what I was going through at the time, where I could have gone to him and said, oh, by the way, man, Gaffer, this is going on. I'm being pressurized to do this. And obviously, because I already said I would do it, but because I've not done it, they're putting more pressure on me, so I don't know what to do. I didn't have that in me to do. And I felt alone. I felt like on my own, I was back against the wall. And then to be dismissed in the way I did, even though the manager, Lee Johnson, when that was going on, when he first went out on the press, what's happened, he rang me and said, what have you seen the press, Chris? And I said, yeah, I have. I'm coming back up to Manchester now to speak to you and tell you what's happened. He said, okay, I'll wait for you. Let me know when you're back in Manchester. I could come and speak to you. So he showed me great support. And even thanks to him is why I'm also playing back in England. And obviously we'll get back to that in a minute. But at the time, I was going for another case when the obviously the scandal at Oldham came up, and both of them things, and being sacked, not having income, all the pressure that I was under, forced me to obviously have thoughts that I'd never had before, which was obviously my own life that I was putting at risk, and also putting on for a lot of stress, and I can't describe, because the pain that I put my mum through was it was just sad. Now that I think about it, it was just sad that I weren't able to speak out or have the courage to do so, because I was scared of being judged.
Okay.
And why I felt like that was because of all the abuse I was getting on social media that made me believe that I was actually a bad person. And it made me believe that I was worthless. It made me believe that I didn't belong in this world, because I've already put, at the time, I met my missus now when I was going through all of that. And then she also left her life behind to come and support me.
Wow.
And for me to see what I was putting my mum through, who's been there with me from day one, and then to see the girl who's with me, the mother of my second child, leave everything behind and see how much sadness I was putting them through due to my mental state, I thought, I need to do something here. What can I do? And obviously, this is after I tried to obviously do what I was going to do in my life. Well, I came to terms with everything when I spoken to my mum properly, and I was able to explain what was going through my thoughts. I ended up winning the first case that I had to face, the first trial. And then a month later, I ended up getting a £900 check from the court, which was obviously, now that I look back, it wasn't enough because of what I went through. But then it was a lifesaver where I made a smart decision to get away from, when I say to you about my paradigm changed, then became conscious a little bit and subconscious, where I started thinking about my habits, what I loved. So I then became creative with myself. I've got no club. I'm injured because I've done one of my ligaments in my knee at the time at Oldham, and they didn't even take care of that either. So I got injured playing for Oldham. I got sacked. I'm injured. No club wants me. What am I doing? I've got all this over my head. What am I doing? And I thought, you know what? I've got a room here, because obviously I then went back to living with my missus in a shared home in London. But I wasn't allowed to be there. The owners obviously just said one person. So I had to sleep there, and then in the morning I had to then get out of there. So I spend basically the whole day in the streets until my missus finished work. Wow. And I thought, well, what can I do? What can I do? So I had my phone. So wherever I could get Wi-Fi from, I used to get Wi-Fi from him and download working out apps where I would try and get fit myself, do some core work and things like that to keep my mind busy and myself busy, and keep myself occupied and reminding myself what I actually enjoyed doing. I enjoyed working out, I enjoyed training. So, if I'm not training with a club, I'm going to try and train on my own. No one wants to touch me. No one wants to give me an opportunity. And I'm also injured. I said to myself, my life is over. And with that check that I got, I said to myself, I've got a lot of negativity going around me. What should I do with this? Should I make this £900 stretch where I could eat good for a month? Yeah. Or should I just leave this country? And I ended up looking for a flight to Colombia. It was worth 1,200 one way, but I only had £900. And I was thinking, what should I do? So I had to then borrow 300 quid from someone else. And that's how much I believed in myself, because I actually borrowed 300 quid from someone to go try and change my life around. And even saying so, there's a guy, you've probably seen it, I've been reposting a lot of things on Instagram. His name's Juanga Diel, Light Sports Management. Yes. So he owns that. He lived in Colombia at the time, and I didn't know him. someone just rang him and said, "Oh, there's this kid, Christian, he's going to Colombia. Could you pick him up?" He didn't know who I was. I didn't know who he was. I just borrowed his friend a £100, bought my flight ticket, told my missus, "Look, babe, I love you, but I need to change my life around. And I can't do it in this country because everyone's against me." And went to Colombia. He picked me up. And then went from then. He then said to me, "Look, I'm going to speak to this manager here, America de Cali, to let you train." Thankfully, the manager at the time knew me from my time at West Ham. Where he said, "Oh, Christian, yeah, that skinny boy, tall boy from here tell him, I know about his problems, I know what he's been through. Tell him that he can come here and train and we're not going to judge him."
Yeah.
And I'm in a city that I don't know pretty well, Cali. I'm Colombian, but it felt like I was in a different country because I've never been in Cali. If I went to Cali when I was a kid, it was just in a bus, just going past Cali. I'd never actually lived there or been to the city properly. So I was in a complete different environment, different surroundings. I didn't know Cali at all. I was always scared. Obviously, you hear in Colombia, "Oh, Cali is beautiful, but it's dangerous as well for people if you don't know your ways around it." So obviously I'm there scared every time I'm looking over my shoulders and whatnot. And it just changed because I believed in myself, and he encouraged me as well. He said, "Look, you're a good footballer. I know you. Obviously, I've seen videos of you when you was at West Ham, what you did at Oldham, what you did at Notts County. So just believe in yourself. Go there, train." And I went there training, and it was hard for me because I went from being injured to do my own rehab. I didn't know what stage it was of my rehab. So I just had to put myself through pain and just the hunger that I had to just train and get fit. And he lasted 3 months where I was obviously still had no money. He would feed me with what he had. Some days, obviously, he had his own issues as well. They had to sort out. So I would just, I wouldn't go as, I would say not begging, but I would have to turn to certain individuals to like just borrow me a tenner here so I could eat in Colombia.
Oh.
And it lasted 3 months, and then after the third month of me being in Colombia, the owner came around and watched training once and then asked who I was.
Okay.
And I told him. And at the time, America Cali were in the championship in Colombia, and he said, "I like this kid." Obviously me. Mm-hmm. Let's sort him out. I want to sign him. And I said, "Tell him," I said, "To be fair, I should be snatching your hands right now for this opportunity, but I'm honest, and I've not played for so long. I could break down any time, and I don't want to let anyone down. And I'm just here to get fit, and I appreciate the offer, but I don't want to take it." And then he came to watch again. He liked me, and then he said, "Look, I want to sign you. What do we have to do? How much do you want?" I said, "Look, with me, it's not about money. It's more about I want to be in a home. I've not had a home for so long. So can you not give me, like, if I sign here, I want a home." I said, "Okay." So then I had an agent who was apparently helping me. He then flew out, sorted my deal, and the club made me the second highest paid player after all of that. And got my first pay, and with my first pay, I managed to fly my missus over. Yep. Then at the same time, I managed to fly my mum over as well. And we were all reunited again, but under different circumstances. Yeah. And it was amazing. It was just an eye opener for me because I've always respected fans. I've always respected and loved the fans for the team I've played for. But being in Colombia actually made me realize how valuable fans are and how much they risk and how much they suffer. Because in Colombia, obviously, every club, in a country, they've got clubs that suffer for the clubs. But in Colombia, fans actually get killed for the clubs. they actually, it was an eye opener where you would see after games where I would finish playing and then my family members would be like, oh, on my way to the game, we've just seen a fan from Eddie Kelly just lost his life on a motorway. And I was like, what? Yeah, because obviously he was trying to get to the stadium, jumped in the back of a lorry too. Obviously, he can't afford the travel. He fell off and a car behind him just splattered him. So things like that, and I came to terms with all of that, and I was like, you know what, fans are everything, you get me?
Yeah.
And I played, I think, about 10 games in the championship there. Played a few League Cup games, but then I kept on breaking down. Prior to obviously not having a club at that level for so long. Yeah. And it got to the point where I was honest with myself and my missus and my mum, and we just said, you know what, I want to go back to the UK because I left on bad note. I've not done anything wrong. It's time for me to go there and face everyone and actually show my face to people that I'm not guilty. But I didn't think I was going to get a club. I came over because I've not seen my eldest kid for so long. So I thought I would spend some time with my kid and see my missus to see her family. And my mum stayed in Colombia with her mum. She went back to our town. And one day I got a phone call from another agent that basically said he wanted me to tell him my story, obviously detailed. So I told him everything, what happened, what went on, and he looked at me in the eye and said, to be fair, I believe you, Chris. Yeah. And I want to give you a chance. But I spoke to this agent thanks to two of my mates who you probably see me reposting things on Instagram. One's called Gerald, Coach Gerald. Yeah. Who done the interview with Jurgen Klopp.
Yeah, wow.
And the other one is called Daniel Williams. So they both my friends called his agent, told him, look, we've got a mate. Here's this, he's like that. Speak to him. He came over, spoke to me, said, look, I believe you. I'm going to help you. And then within a couple of days, he rang me and said, you want to sign for Bristol Rovers? I said, oh, obviously, why not? Yeah. And they told me they'd just been promoted from the conference to League Two and they want to sign you. And I said, oh, that's interesting. And then the manager rang me, how much do you want to earn? What's the question again? And I said, look, I've come over to show everyone that I've not done anything wrong and I'm not hiding from no one. So you give me what you want to give me and leave it as that. Yeah. And just, I want to play football. And then he then turned around and said, to be fair, the reason why I knew you was in their country and the reason why I want to sign you because I spoke to Lee Johnson, who's still Bristol City manager. And he advised me to sign you that. And then he explained why he had to obviously sack you back then. Because obviously it goes way beyond managers. You've got directors, you've got owners. So it went beyond him, what he had to do. So he had to do what he had to do. But he's advised us to sign you. And they spoke to another manager, assistant manager from Dagenham and Redbridge who knew me. And they asked about my personality and everything. Obviously, they'd done the little checks behind us. They told him, obviously, he's a lovely lad. He just caught up in a scandal that we believe he was guilty of. And that was it. And then Darryl Clark said, you know what, I'm someone that believes in giving people second chances. And from what I've done, my little research, you seem like a lovely lad. So here's what we're going to give you. And the money that they were giving me was basically what I was on when I was a 17-year-old kid. And obviously at the time when I was 17, it was good money because I was single, no kids. So it was good. But then coming back to that was, I've now got a missus who depends on me. I've got my eldest kid. I've got bills to pay and all of that. So, but I said, you know what? I'm back in the country playing football, so let's enjoy it.
And it must have been an enjoyable season because, am I right in saying that there was promotion that season?
Yeah.
And a real bittersweet moment coming back to the UK and getting such an achievement straight away?
Yeah, it was amazing because obviously I didn't think I was gonna achieve that with them, but the squad we had was amazing. For myself, was being able to actually get back to the UK and back to signing for a professional club. Even though when I signed, they still had fans from Oldham who gave me a lot of abuse. You cheating this, you cheating that. I hope you break your leg here. I hope you break your leg there. But then again, I don't hold nothing against no one and I understand the frustration. But then I was saying to myself, I'm innocent. I'm playing football. I'm doing what I love. So I can't really read into too much into what they're saying. And to then go on and achieve promotion with Bristol Rovers was something that would always live with me.
Yeah.
And I'm so proud of that moment at a time when that happened, be able to have my missus, who was pregnant with my youngest kid at the time, and my eldest kid was watching that game against Dagenham and Redbridge as well, the last game of the season, to achieve promotion with basically the last kick of the game where Lee Brown scored that goal. And we were fifth going to the last game of the season, finishing the game on the game ending and finishing third.
Wow.
It was just, we're already like in the playoffs, but then to finish the game and then realize we've actually been promoted automatically was just surreal.
Wow. Yeah, after that, a move to where you are now in Port Vale with, manager at the time, Michael Brown, stating you'd be an exciting player for the club. Were you looking forward to that move and sort of a new chapter?
Oh, yes, I was, because at Bristol Rovers, even though I enjoyed my time there, but there was obviously Darryl Clark worked and he had his own ways of working in terms of tactical, and he had his way of playing away from home and at home. So I wanted to play every game. If he did well, he's not that sort of manager that would play, because he's got his own ways, and his own ways have actually got him to where he is. He's an amazing manager. But we had a conversation where I said, I want to play more. And he said, well, I can't guarantee you that, but you've done amazingly here. But we believe that you deserve to play in every game and every minute. So I remember we just left it as that. He let me go, and then one day I was in Blackpool Beach with my missus, and then we ended up going to Pleasure Beach in Blackpool as well. And I got a phone call, and it was one of my ex-teammates saying, do I want to go to Port Vale? Michael Brown had rang him, asking him about me, what sort of player I am, what sort of person I am. And he told him, so I said, yeah, obviously, because it's close to my missus. Obviously, after so many years, my missus followed me everywhere around the world. Colombia, even in the UK, London, Manchester, everywhere. And I thought it would be good to move to a club closer to a family. So, and then Port Vale was the closest. I had offers from other clubs, but Port Vale at the time was the closest one to my family. And then it worked well with what I wanted to do as well in terms of playing time and what the manager said to me. And it just worked well. Yeah. And I loved everything about the club at the time. Obviously, I love it even more now. By the time, obviously, everything, the stadium, the fan base and everything, close, the location was perfect. And I thought, yeah, why not? So I ended up signing. And obviously the first two, I enjoyed obviously a pre-season where everyone had high hopes. I had high hopes myself, but then injuries then kicked in. Because then again, I went from not playing week in, week out to playing even every game in pre-season. Like even at Bristol Rovers in pre-season, I wasn't doing, and you play one game, then I would miss the next game. And it's obviously it's what your body's used to. Yeah. So I've gone from playing here, playing there, and then to playing every game in pre-season. How hard pre-season was, then obviously I broke down. And to be able to find my form, then little niggles here and then, was hard to regain my form until I still scored a few goals, which I was happy with my return for goals that my first season, where I was second top goal scorer to Popey. And the second season, and end of that season, I ended up signing a new deal with Vale. And the reason why I signed it was because obviously I enjoyed the club and I was happy. Yeah. which was the most important thing. And that's, for me, learning from my past was how much I could earn to then how happy I can be.
Yeah.
And happiness is something that you can't buy. And I was happy, my missus was happy, so I thought it's a no-brainer. I'm going to sign my contract and another 2 years at Vale, and hopefully next year will be better. And that second year was probably as bad as the first year, where we nearly got relegated again.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing I wanted to touch on, obviously, you mentioned there was injuries. When you did come back, you hit 3 goals in 4 days in December. Before, you had a bit of a period where you moved to left back, and then, injuries again. But under new management, John Askey, you were installed back as a left winger, and you stated that it actually made you a better winger by having time as a left back. Which is something I just wanted to touch on for any young players in the game now. How important is it to learn your trade by experiencing different positions?
You have to, because for myself, I'll go back to when I was at West Ham. And at West Ham, I was hungry, but I was so caught up in my own mind where I wanted to play what I wanted to play. And even at West Ham, they tried to turn him into a left back because they saw the attributes. They believed that I could make a good left back. And that's probably one thing that I won't regret about, something that I wish I would have listened better to. Yeah. But even though I was playing left back at West Ham for a few games, in reserve games and even in training, and the reserve games I played 3 reserve games, scored 3 goals from left back. I think it was 3 or 2 from left back. And one day, just listening to my teammates calling me a defender, and that sort of frustrated me back then. Oh, you're not a defender, you're not a defender. And I was thinking, no, I'm a striker, I'm an attacker. And I went to the manager and said, I'm not playing there again. And it's so important to understand different roles, because first of all, you could help yourself with knowledge and learning. But second of all, you could play anywhere in a team.
Yeah.
And don't let your ego take over, and just think about your growth.
Yeah. What
can you learn from this? What can you take from this? Because sometimes as young players, you just want to, ego just takes over them. Mm. Where I don't want to do this because I'm the best. I don't want to do that because I'm great at this, which is good. But then also ego can break you down and could actually end your career. Where luckily for me, it didn't, because I was able to get grips of it at the right time. Yeah. I understand how important it is to learn new trades in football and different positions.
No, it's some great advice there, because that was actually going to be one of my questions. What advice would you give to, not just within Port Vale, but any youngsters looking to make a career in the game?
I'll say another one is listen.
Yeah.
Learn and enjoy it. Don't put pressure on yourself.
Okay. Well, some good words there. I'm pretty sure. Hopefully, we should all show the love of the game when we play, but I can understand that can be difficult in those pressure environments. And, I'm really conscious that we've been speaking for a long time now. Just before we go into our sort of quick fire question round, I want to touch on again, Monty, the impact you've had on the pitch, is now showing off the pitch with how you speak candidly about your experience with mental health. And, I know we've spoke off air about it, but the work that you're doing in the community, I've got to give you some praise for that, mate, because, as you've mentioned before, it can be tough to speak up, especially in a male environment. And, one of the things that I've certainly taken from your campaigns with local communities is that you're not weak if you speak.
Yeah. I would say, as humans, as individuals, we are afraid from, once again, being judged. We're afraid of people thinking, obviously, it'll fall in the same category as being judged, where you're scared of being told you're weak. But in all fairness, keeping everything inside you eats you.
Mm.
And by that, it's actually making you weaker. But if you speak, it empowers you.
Mm.
It gives you full control of yourself and understanding of yourself. But before you actually are able to speak, you've got to understand what you're going through, and what is actually making you feel the way you're feeling. Because you can't speak about something that's bothering you if you don't know what actually is bothering you. Yeah. And a lot of the times we tend to down talk ourselves by, like the video I did the other day, by saying it's stupid. So there's no point of saying it because it's stupid, and it's not stupid, no matter how small or big it is. But if it's bothering you and it's affecting your mental health, it's big and it's got to get dealt with. And speaking actually gives you strength and power, because there's a lot of people out there that are willing to help you and listen to you and actually might give you advice. Like for myself, I did it the harder way around, where I never looked at anyone. And when I was so close to doing what I was going to do, thankfully my missus and my mum got to the house when they did. Then I was able to speak, and it was just to them. And then I was able to realize who I am and what I enjoy doing. And then I was able to make the decision where I need to leave the country. So whatever you may be going through, sometimes you've got to leave your comfort zone to find yourself again.
That's massive. And look, again, you've been a bit of an inspiration for me, certainly with how openly you speak about it and the issues I've had in the past. So, thank you for that. But to finish off on maybe a positive or, a slightly disappointing note, 7th in the league before obviously the season came to an end. Is this going to be the season that might have been for Port Vale?
I think we are all frustrated, disappointed, because it wasn't even 1 point that we missed the playoff by. It was 0.4 points. It was not even half a point.
Wow.
But it goes to show how far we've come as a team. You've got to see the positives. For myself, I've been at Vale nearly 3 years, and the first 2 years weren't placing at all. Mm. And now to see how far the club has come and how much us players will believe in one another, I believe we would have got promoted. Yeah. That's my beliefs, with the way we were playing and the belief that we had in the squad. But now it's just about, this season we had basically a lot of people doubted us. Yeah. A lot of people didn't think we're going to achieve what we've achieved this season. To many people will be nothing, but to us it's a lot. We've fought relegation twice, to then being within touch of playoff players and hopefully getting promoted. So we just got to take this experience to next season where we can kick on now. And there's the belief that we can actually do it. We've got the players, we've got the squad, we've got a great team, great management behind us. And it's just about enjoying our football. Yeah. No pressure, just enjoy it. And that's what we've done this season. I didn't feel pressured at all this season. It was just more about having fun and enjoying it.
Surely one of the highlights of the season must have been the Man City game, and the plaudits you earned from stopping Riyad Mahrez on many occasions. What a moment!
Yeah, it was. To be fair, it was a moment I was dreading. To be fair, wow. Throughout the whole game, I was actually, before the game, seeing their lineup, I was actually relieved. I know they're top class players, and you would call them world class players. The last team to have won the Premier League was Man City. Yeah. So they are unreal players, but then to not see Sterling and then Mahrez obviously starting that game, I was thinking, okay, that's all right then. And for me, I just build myself up. No matter who I'm playing up against, I build myself up the same way. End of the day, we are playing against human beings. Yes, they have had different training. They might have achieved a level that everyone wants to achieve. they're earning millions of pounds, which makes some difference to what we earn. But at the end of the day, they are human beings, and then the pitch is 11v11. And that's how I see every team that I play against. No matter if you're bottom of League 2 or top of League 2 or Man City, like when we played against them, it was just enjoying the occasion and show everyone that we can actually play football. And that's what we did as a team, as a club. Myself and our families were all proud, and that's what gave us the belief that if we can do that, and I know we lost the game, but if we can play the way we played against Man City, why can't we play like that against anyone else? And I think the season will reflect on that as well, how well we've done, and we didn't really hide away from anyone. We had one or two bad performances, but then we bounced back from them bad performances. It's about learning, and what can you learn from a loss and what can you learn from a win? And what can we take from the Man City game? And that's what we did as a team, and it's just an amazing experience.
Yeah. No, fantastic. It leads me on nicely then to the quick fire question round. Few times now you're able to maybe get your own back on former teammates, as you know David Worrell may have done in his. But who's the best manager or coach you've played under?
Oh, does it have to be excluding Paul Vale in terms of managers? Because I'm still playing under Askey, so played under. We can't include Askey. I'm still playing under him, and I enjoy playing under him.
Okay, we'll take your current club out of it, because obviously you're playing football there. Prior to Paul Vale, best manager coach you played under?
You know what, I would say either Lee Johnson or Darryl Clark.
Okay. Lee Johnson's been mentioned a few times, to be fair. So,
or Darryl Clark, both of them.
Both of them. Okay.
Yeah.
Best friend in football.
Best friend in football. Oh, I don't know. You know, I'm quite a friendly person. Yeah. So I'm close to everyone at Paul Vale, but the ones that I stay in touch with, I would say, out of football, like at Paul Vale. It's hard, you know, because I've got a few. Yeah. It's got obviously Billy Bolden that I speak to quite a lot. I would say Tyrone Barnett, speak to him quite a lot. Yeah. Brendan Daniels, so I speak to. I'm quite a friendly person.
Fair enough. We'll knock that down to one. Toughest opponent.
Toughest opponent. Oh. Hey, what? When I was young or now?
In your whole career, has there been one opponent where you've gone, I don't want to play against them again?
I'll take it back to when I was a kid at West Ham. Okay. Alex, the defender, Brazilian for Chelsea.
Yeah.
Him.
Oh. Machine.
And I was just a little skinny guy, just there up front playing against him.
Worst dressed teammate.
Oh. I'm going to go with hey, what? I love Popey. I'll go with Popey.
Popey. Okay. Best trainer. So hardest worker.
Best trainer. Yeah. Best trainer.
Yeah.
In terms of effort and everything, like what they...
Professionalism, effort, talent, everything.
Well, Paul Vale, like now you got to say nearly the whole squad, you know, which is why we are in the position we're in, because everyone's just on point. But if I had to pick one, I would go with probably Luke Joyce.
Luke Joyce, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the second time he's been picked as well. Best player you've played with?
Ooh. Teammate.
Yeah, best teammate.
What, at Port Vale or before?
In your whole career.
I've played with a lot of good players, but I'm gonna have to say, yo, this one's hard, you know.
Yeah.
I'll say Billy Bowden.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anybody you would recommend or like to hear on the podcast?
Yeah. I would say my friend Lammy, Coach Lams.
Yeah. I'll be getting in touch. I've seen some of the work that he's doing, and fantastic work that he's doing. So I agree. I think he'd be a great guest on the podcast.
Yeah.
Monty, it's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you tonight. Thank you ever so much for being so honest and, speaking about your experiences and giving the advice that you've given to the youngsters. I want to wish you and the rest of the lads, obviously, all the best for next season. I hope you and the family stay safe, buddy, and, we'll stay in touch and speak soon.
Oh, thank you so much. And it was a pleasure sharing this, I'll say part of my experiences with you. And hopefully what I've said can encourage and I'll say push other young players or people who may be struggling with some form of emotional health to just speak up and just know that speaking doesn't make you weak.
Yeah.
You're not weak if you speak. So just love yourself and just do everything you can to help yourself.
No, keep up the great work, buddy. It's so inspiring to see what you're doing. And again, I hope everything goes well for you moving forward.
No, thank you so much, man. Thank you for having me.
No, Brent. Stay safe, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers. Catch you soon.
Ductig brand is on hand for all of your coaching needs. Whether it be to plan sessions or take notes whilst observing games, Ductig are able to cover all of your needs. Use the discount code Irvine20 at checkout to receive a discount. Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoy the content that we're trying to bring to you. Don't forget, new episodes will be released every Monday. You can find us on the iTunes Store, Spotify, and if you want to see the video, you can see it on our YouTube channel, PCT Football Coaching.